Hello. Cancer is not a death sentence. My name is Corinne, and this is my beautiful daughter, Ash. We're going to talk a little bit about getting a cancer diagnosis and some of the thoughts that we have and whether they're valid or not valid. I mean, all of them are valid. However, some of them are based on something that's not really true. And so, when I was given a stage 4 breast cancer, metastasized to the bone diagnosis, I immediately went, how much time do I got? And interesting how that's exactly the thought process is. How much time do I have left to live? And I went, isn't that interesting? And so my first oncologist very nicely said 2 years. And I went, pardon me? 2 years I had. My oncologist now said she has people that have what I have. It's 10 years already, and they're still going strong. So it's like, I'm going to go with that diagnosis and that prognosis as opposed to the 2 years. So if you have an oncologist who doesn't support you living, change. Like, change your oncologist. When she said that to me, and she did a lot of other things that was pretty rude, but when you don't have an oncologist that actually supports you, and somebody else said, another medical professional said, imagine having that job where you had to tell people that you had 6 months to live or 3 months to live, or and actually, in fact, they have 3 weeks to live. And so that would be a horrible job. I don't think I would like that job very much. It would be very heartbreaking. So to give her a little bit of a defense, maybe that is something we need to think about too. So let's think about getting that death sentence or getting that cancer diagnosis. One of the things after you get over the shock of it, it's like, okay, so what am I going to do? And, Ash and I were talking about, well, what are we going to talk about today? And it's like, you know what? Let's talk about how to live. I mean, we don't know. Coquihalla on Sunday, big accident, somebody died. Happens a lot on the Coquihalla. They call that the highway to hell for a good reason. And so it's like, you don't know when you're going to expire, when you're going to leave Earth School. But, I think it's interesting when, we get scared of dying. And I think we should be scared of not living more than scared of dying, because so many people today don't live. I can remember, and you don't know it. That's the thing. You're not aware. I was not aware. When I was working 60 hours a week and I was going up that corporate ladder and I was, doing all the different things that I was doing, I was not aware that I was not living. I thought work was living. I really did think work was living. Still do sometimes. Production to me says that my life has value. And I wonder what it would have been like if I actually realized that I have value regardless of what I do or how I am or that process. Like, it's a very interesting thing. But talking about how do I live this life and how do I wake up every day and go, I'm excited and I'm grateful for today. Ash, what are your thoughts?
That's there's so many thoughts in that. Like the reality of the greatest fear in life is not living. Like when you could have the best day of your life, but because you're so afraid of all the things that could happen, or like even this weekend, like we had time with family, right? Like it was just, there's so much going on that you want to like almost take a moment to just cherish it, but there's no way to really cherish it. And it's like, how do you love things more? But like you can't. But the reality is to let go of that fear. And
Mm-hmm.
so like when I noticed this weekend, when I just said, you know what, everyone is here to have a good time. No one is here to argue, no one's here to fight. And that's the thing, like you need to realize like when it's funny, my uncle drove, right? And so he's like, look at all this traffic. And I was like, there's 5 cars, uncle. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, when I go, there's no cars. And I'm like, yes, that's true, right? I get it, right? Like, but it's long weekend. I said to him, I said, uncle, like everyone else wants to get to where they're going safe. No one says, hey, I'm going to drive up the mountain, see my family, and I hope I don't make it. Nobody does that. No one says, oh, I hope I have road rage with somebody and I cut them off and they tailspin, right? Like, nobody does that. So it's about how can we just enjoy? And so, like, the whole trip up, like, it was nice to just enjoy. Like, you can make that enjoyable or you can make it miserable, but that's up to you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with your life. I always say add more goodness to every moment. Like, if you don't know how to get rid of fear, add more goodness. And if you don't know what to do the next right thing. I tell, like, my mom and I, we were saying today, we're so organized. I don't know where it's like we're gonna get ready to get real busy because I'm telling you, I'm getting a new certification, y'all. Pretty excited. So, anyways, stay tuned. I'll be telling about that later. But the point of it is that when we are growing and learning and expanding and going out of our comfort zone, I am personally kicking my own ass to get out of my own way because half the time I'm so scared of being judged. And here's the thing, you're going to be judged whether you do something or you don't do something. So I asked myself, do you want to be judged for being lazy or do you want to be judged for trying? And I was like, whoa. Once I had that context, I was like, I don't want to be judged for being lazy. So then I guess you better put your face in front of the camera. Guess you better start talking to people. Guess you better get out of your own way, maybe. And then you do it, and it's like, oh, okay. Because half the time it's easy to hide. How many
Mhm.
times do y'all hide? I'm asking you in there. Hello. We
Oh,
all
you did it.
are you out
Now we
there?
all have fingerprints on our
Oh
cameras.
yeah, now no, I didn't touch mine. I just got real close. But that's the truth. We are all just trying. Like, what if everything we're here for is on purpose?
Yeah. Everything is here on purpose. And also, what is death about? I have a belief system about death, and some people will disagree. And here's what I tell people when I'm teaching about metaphysics and those kinds of things. Here's a platter of information. You pick whatever you want and whatever you're comfortable with at that time to digest. Because when I remember a good friend of mine, she gave me a Sylvia Brown book, probably now almost 30 years ago. Um, and so I read the book and I went, this is garbage. This is absolute garbage. And I laughed thinking about going back to 2011, where I got to spend the afternoon with 20 other people in the room with Sylvia Brown. I spent a lot of money to do that, but I thought that that was important for me to go and see her in person with her long nails before she died. And I was very grateful to be able to do that. But here's the thing, 30 years ago, I wasn't ready to receive the information that we are spiritual beings.
Yep.
That literally, Carrie Underwood said it really well in her song called Temporary Home. And that is, we're going from room to room. So birth is you're going from the spiritual room coming into the human room. And then we're going from the human room back into the spiritual room. And all we're doing is passing through these rooms. And it's interesting when you really think about it. It's like, okay, got it. And I chose Earth School. I mean, there's so much information out there now. There's so much channeling going on now. And, you can't tell me Steven Spielberg, as brilliant as he is, didn't channel some of that information when it came to ET or some of the other movies that he's done of other galaxies and those kinds of things. It's like, it's pretty, he channeled part of that.
Well,
You can
just like
bet.
you said with the social collective, like in the subconscious, like
Sure.
that's where you access the social collective, right? Where we're all connected. We all can receive the same message and we're all
Sure.
getting it subconsciously. It's
And
just
so
some
when
aren't
you're given
listening.
a diagnosis of cancer,
Yeah.
the first reaction, allow yourself to feel that reaction of, oh my God, am I dying? Because if you don't, you will eventually. feel that, whole thing, especially if you tell somebody like, oh my gosh, I know I told my uncle that I had bone cancer, and he's going to go with his experience. And his experience is he just went to a funeral of somebody who had bone cancer, and he worked with this gentleman for, the whole time that he was experiencing bone cancer. So his experience is, oh my gosh, this is not great,
Yeah.
because that's what he just experienced. But
Yeah.
I know people that 5 years have had it and they're still
Yeah.
going to AquaFit with me. So it's like, okay, so no big deal. So that's what I'm kind of thinking of. That's what I'm thinking about is like, all right,
Yeah.
so how do I really experience the best day of my life? How do I make this day the most amazing? One is always being grateful, for sure. That's a big part of making a day great, because chances are good your day's not going to be great if you're not grateful for it. That is the truth. Um, and then actually doing things that you've never done.
Mhm.
I have never asked for my family to come up for the weekend. Like, I just assumed that it was easier for me to go down there because it's two of us traveling as opposed to 10. And this time I said, I would really like to have Thanksgiving dinner in our home. And I would like to have it at home. Because as much as uh, the home we grew up in, the kids grew up in, is not the same, where we are is home. And so I did that this year, give them lots of notice. And I was very grateful. It was so I literally cried. My husband and I both ended up in tears. And what was really nice is they held the space. They simply held the space for us to experience that. So if you want to do something, ask. Doesn't hurt. All anybody can ever say is no. And if
Yeah.
they say no, it's fine. It's no big deal. So anyway, being grateful, doing things that you haven't done before, living your life, like really living your life, and understanding that cancer isn't a death sentence. Sometimes life is.
No, life is a death sentence. That's the only death sentence. It's existing, it's breathing. We're all terminal. We all,
True.
so I was saying, even when we were talking about what we'll talk about, and I said to her, we're just control freaks. Okay. If here's how I know, if you knew the day you were gonna die, you would never think about the day you're on. You would only
Yeah.
think about that day and how to
Yeah.
get there, how to avoid it, how to change it, because look at Back to the Future.
Yeah, fair
look
enough.
at
Great movie.
look at history, right? Because the second, knowledge is not always good. Ignorance truly is bliss on this.
Yeah.
So, but again, like you said, ask for things. But the problem is nobody really knows what they want. And so how do you do that? Your frequency. So, cancer cannot live in an alkaline system. Cancer cannot live in a vibration, in a certain vibration. And so when you raise your vibration, that's why I say, Mom, you're doing so good because something clicked in you when you went through what you were going through and you shifted. And what would you say that shift was, Mom? Because I'm going to tell you what, I had said it a million times to you. And maybe now it'll click in again. Here's going to be live therapy, y'all. Stay tuned. You remember what I said to you the whole time, all the time? What I said, Mom, this is here for you to learn what?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, we'll wait. I don't want to test you too hard, but it's one thing that I said,
Just
right?
slow down. That I'm not my production. That
You
I'm.
know what I love most? It's so stubbornly locked in. You are so in tune with me. You can read my mind, but it's such a resistance. But here's the thing, and whether we edit this out or not, but the point of it is starts with a B.
D.
Yeah. This is how powerful our subconscious is, folks.
I know.
You
So I tell me what it is that you want me to say.
balance.
Balance. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Not
So
like
would you
not
say
work so
that,
much. I said not work so much. So yeah, that balance comes down to not work so much. It's like I don't need to work so much.
yes.
So
And you
it's
were
like,
able to
why am I
ask,
working so much?
yeah, and ask the kids like us to come up.
Yeah.
instead of
Absolutely.
you going down. So you're finding a new balance. You're
Yeah.
finding that, hey, you can ask. Like where a whole bunch, like months ago, you asking us to come up would have been not the conversation.
No, absolutely not. I would have just taken it on as me and just gone, yeah, okay,
Yeah, I'll just drive, even
I'll
though
just
I'm tired.
handle it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
yeah.
handle it. Yeah. I don't
And
need
it,
to handle it. Even doing dinner, I have, and everybody helped doing it, and it was like, wow, that was so cool. So just ask. That's the key to that is ask. And when you
yep.
ask, you'll get the answer that you need. It's amazing how it happens. It's great.
Well,
Anyway,
here's the, yeah, perfect. Yeah.
live your best day. Like, what does that look like? Just live your best day. Like, I'm going to go out and rake leaves today.
Yeah.
Why? Because I want to exercise. I want to move my body. So that's really important to me every day to do that because I feel better doing that because I can move. 6 months ago, I couldn't walk. Today, I can walk and rake leaves and go to Aquafit and walk, 10,000 steps. Not a big deal, which reminds me, I'll
Good
put my
achievement.
watch on them.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway,
Yeah, perfect.
thanks for listening. Hopefully, I don't know if this was inspirational or
Of course.
helpful, but the key to this, the whole thing is you get to choose. You choose how you're going to live this life. How you choose is up to you. It's not up to anybody else. You don't get to be victim to cancer because that will kill you faster than anything. Um, you can be victim to it if you want, but it really won't support you. And victim sounds like I have cancer, and you use it as an excuse to not do things that you really want to do. And I can remember doing that. I do remember that. So that is a phase that you kind of go through, and then you get mad. Or at least I did. And then like, what the hell? And then I went, okay, so what am I doing about it? And what's real?
There you go. You found your balance.
And finding that balance and going through that is okay. Like you need to know it's okay. Whatever you're experiencing is okay. It's all right. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Have yourself a great week and we'll talk to you next week. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye for now.